Welcome back to the Studio 2121 podcast from Westbrook Health Services. Today I'm here to speak with James McLean. James has been running our DUI services program for some time now. How long has that been, James?
8 years.
8 years. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
If you're unaware, this program is really designed to help get people back on their feet after maybe they've fallen down a bit. James, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
What has it been like working in DUI? What kind of clients do you tend to see?
Well, I see a wide variety of people. Anyone who might have a problem with substances, drugs, or alcohol, and just that person who is at the wrong place, wrong time, and may get a DUI simply because they're driving under the influence.
Right. And so a lot of people that we seek to help maybe have been incarcerated, lost their licensure from repeat offenses of driving under the influence. Why is it so important to get that license back after re-entering the world?
Well, the recidivism with people who have been incarcerated end up 86% of those people have reported that the largest barrier that they have is not having a valid license when they're being reintroduced into society, and the employment opportunities are not there for someone if they do not have a valid license.
I mean, this is especially true in rural areas in West Virginia, right? We don't have a lot of public transportation.
Transportation is definitely a big issue for not only people outside of city limits, but definitely in our more rural areas.
For sure. And so in the absence of public transit, it really falls on the individual to keep that driving record clean, to follow rules and regulations. And so I think putting myself in someone else's shoes, the first step would be get that license, find a job and some stable place to sleep, and then, make the necessary changes to prevent repeating what got you there in the first place.
Absolutely. Once the person is paroled, they're back in society and they have had that assistance to get that place to stay. One of the first things we want to do is try to get them their license back as quickly as possible. And being able to help them get those employment opportunities is very important, which is one of the reasons we've gone into the prison system with the DUI program, to help people get their license before they're back into society and having to supply that license as the proof that they are mobile.
And so this program, I imagine it's a bit of instruction. It's sort of a review of driving basics. But is there also something else to it? Is there a therapy component?
Absolutely. The safety and treatment program itself, the level 1, is 18 hours of education, laws, biological, physiological effects of drugs and alcohol in the body. And then we create a plan for the person. It's a safety plan as opposed to the safety plan that's typically done with level 3 or individual therapy, which is a part of the level 3 component for DUI. We're able to help that individual learn what they need to do to make the right decision so that they can prevent that future DUI. The level 2 component is a group exercise that takes place along with, in tandem with that classroom group. It's 1 hour of groups for 6 weeks, as well as the 3 hours for 6 weeks, that 18. And then we have a level 3 component. That component is coupled with the severity of the type of DUI, the number of DUIs, and the options for that is that individual therapy, a minimum of 12 individual therapy sessions, or the IOP program.
And IOP, that's an intensive
outpatient program, yes.
Do you want to talk about how that ties into the work that you do at DUI?
Well, if I assign someone that level 3 responsibility, then they have to do an intake. They are enrolled into the intensive outpatient program, or IOP, and they can do that before they do the level 1 and 2, or they can all be done in tandem together if the individual's treatment plan and intake indicate that they can do that and it's not too stressful on that individual.
So yeah, we've got levels 1, 2, and 3 with therapy components being either individual therapy, group therapy, or IOP in severe cases. So you really are sort of re-educating and getting through the steps to get the license reinstated, but also kind of caring for the person during that process. And I think that's so great to recognize that if we've landed in the position that we've lost our license because of behavior, that there's probably something else going on. And I really like sort of the holistic approach.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that because we do try to adhere to that. And we have a lot of people who enter into the program who didn't really realize that their behaviors coupled together show a bigger picture, that there might be a problem that they might need other services for. So we are able to refer them for those additional services, either when we do that assessment and assign the level. And we have a lot of people see the information and then their focus changes from, I just need to get my license back, to I do need to speak with someone. And if they're not in that higher component, we have a lot of people that realize that they might need that component just for their own personal well-being.
Have you had any personal favorite success stories of just someone that came to you in a rough spot and left a more confident and prepared person?
Yes. We have had individuals actually return to our department to show us a vehicle that they had been able to purchase now that they can drive. And it's a wonderful feeling being able to this did happen. I was at McDonald's and I'm getting a coffee in another county and going to teach DUI, and I hear somebody yelling my name and I'm looking around, and then all of a sudden I see a cook and they're just like, James, I'm driving. And knowing those things. And at the grocery store, I had a former client yell my name and I saw them and they actually pulled their license out to say, look, I drove here, I'm driving. So the success that we're able to experience with the clients, it gives us so much satisfaction and gives us that ability that we're really helping people accomplish their goals. They're doing the work. We're just implementing the standards, the rules, the requirements that they need to do. But anybody can get through the program with all the resources that Westbrook offers. We can get anybody where they need to be if they're willing to put in a little bit of the effort to be engaged and be present.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
So just so I can cover all my bases, say that someone has decided that they need to get their license back and they're ready for this program. Mm-hmm. What does that day one look like? What should they bring? What should they be prepared for?
Well, we ask that everyone bring in a certified driver's record from the DMV. That tells us what we need to know that the courts have accomplished for that person. And they need to bring a valid ID. And they also, with no obligation, need to fill out our first 4 pages of our packet. We have the first 4 pages, which is releases and consent for treatment and consent for telehealth, and it's a state report page, so that we can at least, as a provider, make the inquiry so we can get the details of the DUI. As a provider, in that method, we get the details such as the file number, the date, the time, and the offense details, child endangerment, bodily injury, or the BAC level, or non-BAC level, meaning a controlled substance. So with the driver's record, and then as we make that report request, there is somewhat confusion with individuals who don't realize that if I had an aggravated DUI and went to court, the magistrate court could take my aggravated DUI, which is a 0.15 or higher blood alcohol content, and lower it to a misdemeanor reckless op. They're still found guilty of that original offense, although maybe the magistrate court is changing their requirements for the court. It will still be reported to the DMV as it originally occurred. So it will come to the provider as that aggravated, which is a 0.15 and above. We, as a provider, have to go off what the DMV or the administrative court reports, not what magistrate court has changed it to. So a driver's record could not actually match what the provider receives, and that causes some confusion with individuals. But when they're in the program, of course, we explain all that in such great detail that they understand exactly why the law is causing two different courts to have two different results.
Gotcha. So that's the ins and out of it.
Yes, pretty much. We're here to help guide anybody through the process every single step of the way with what they need to turn in, what they need to do to get done, what level they might be and why, and then also help them navigate the process when they get done. A lot of people can't get their license back until they pay fines and fees that they might owe in different counties, and we can help facilitate that with an application that's provided through the DMV and Legal Aid of West Virginia. So we're here to help in any way, and if we can't, we can definitely find the resources for that person to get where they need to be in addition to our program at Westbrook.
Are there any fees associated with the program, and does Westbrook offer assistance with that?
Yes, the fee that the state sets for the enrollment, which includes that assessment, is $400. And that is the 18 hours of education, level 1, plus that assessment has to be included in that. We require them to pay for the enrollment because that has to go to the state immediately. And then the workbook that we use for the program, and that's $20. And then the state requires on enrollment an enrollment urine drug screen, which is $35. So if a person pays $455, enrollment book and enrollment UDS, in the beginning, we enroll them, and then they have the 6 weeks of the program to pay for any fees that they might owe, which could be level 2. Level 1, 2, also, they have 3 drug screens, the enrollment, and then 2 randomly during the 6 weeks. So that level 1 person would only owe for those other 2 drug screens, and the level 2 person would owe for the level 2 groups and those 2 drug screens.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and level 3 is insurable.
Okay. Awesome. Well, James, thanks for sitting down with me. Is there anything that you'd like to say to someone that may recently have gotten back into society and is thinking about getting their license?
Well, if they give us a call, then we can definitely help them get what they need, or we can help set them up with the resources that can help them get prepared or get what they need done. Whether it's in West Virginia or an out-of-state DUI, we can help facilitate with any DMV in the country.
That's good to know. All right. Well, thanks for sitting down, James. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.